energy, they don't have oil, but they would live off of the oil from Venezuela. And what they do have is very strong people and very powerful people militarily, and they would protect the people running Venezuela, and they would take in a lot of money from Venezuela. Now they don't have that. They won't be taking in any money. So, Marco, what do you think?
Well, I mean, the fundamental problem in Cuba is that it's run by incompetent people that don't know what an economy looks like, much less a functioning one. They've made a choice, and that is they would rather have political control over the people than they would have an economy that functions. And they've gotten away with it for 60-something years because they've had donors, the Soviet Union, and now most recently Venezuela. But that's now gone. So the people in control in Cuba have a choice to make. They can either have a real country with a real economy where their people can prosper, or they can continue with their failing dictatorship that's going to lead to systemic and societal collapse. So it's a very stark and dramatic choice, and it's one we hope to make the right one. We don't have an interest in a destabilized Cuba, but that would be their fault because they refuse to allow the people of Cuba to have either economic or political freedom for that matter.
And you have a lot of people in this country that want to go back to Cuba and help Cuba. A lot of people have left, they came in penniless, they didn't have anything, and they become very rich people in our country, and they want to very much go back and help Cuba. So that's something that Cuba has that a lot of other places don't have. Peter?
President Trump, thank you. I do want to ask you about Minnesota, but first, just more on topic. President Zelensky said that he was watching with the rest of the world as you made this order to go and capture Nicolas Maduro. And he said, if that's how it works with dictators, then the United States knows what to do next. Sounds like he wants you to go and capture Vladimir Putin. Would you ever order a mission to go and capture Vladimir Putin?
Well, I don't think it's going to be necessary. I think we're going to have I've always had a great relationship with him. I'm very disappointed. I settled 8 wars. I thought this would be in the middle of the pack or maybe one of the easier ones. And I don't know if you know, Peter, the last month, they lost 31,000 people, many of them Russian soldiers, and the Russian economy is doing poorly. I think we're going to end up getting it settled. I wish we could have done it quicker because a lot of people are dying, and mostly soldiers. They get hit in Kiev and they get hit a little bit here and there, and people are dying there too. But largely, it's the soldier population. When you have 30,000, 31,000 soldiers dying in a period of a month, 27,000 the month before, 26,000 the month before that. That's bad stuff. So, as you know, President Biden gave $350 billion to Ukraine to fight, and we would never get that back, although I did make a rare earth deal to get it back, so we will be getting it back, but shouldn't have done that. It was a bad thing to do. I will say that right now, because I was able to get NATO to up GDP from 2% to 5%, NATO's got a lot of money, and they're paying for everything. We're not losing any money. We're making a lot of money, I guess, if you think of it, because we're selling them military equipment. They're probably giving it to Ukraine. But we're selling them to NATO military equipment. We're getting full price and all of that. But that's not a big deal to me. What is a big deal is stopping a war where 30,000 people are being killed every single month.
On Minnesota, the vice president yesterday suggested that Renee Good, who was killed by this ICE officer, was part of a broad left-wing network. What has your team told you about this broad left-wing network? Who is in charge of it? Who's part of it? What's it called?
Well, I haven't seen the vice president's statement, but he's generally very accurate. I hate to say it. Look, I watched that yesterday, and there are a lot of different forms to it. But there was a woman screaming, shame, 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 shame. She was a agitator, probably a paid agitator, but in my opinion, she was an agitator, a very high-level agitator, so professional. She wouldn't stop screaming. I said, this isn't a normal situation. This is a professional troublemaker, because you heard it and I had it. Now, I will say this. The news sort of turned her down, turned her off, because you're trying to watch. She was so loud and so crazy and just not normal. When somebody sees something like that, they don't go screaming and the same words. So I guess you could say professional, but I didn't think she did a very good job. You have agitators, and we will always be protecting ICE, and we're always going to be protecting our Border Patrol and our law enforcement. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, in your conversations with these oil executives today, did you provide any security guarantees so that they can do their work safely in Venezuela? Yeah. And separately, Mr. President,
they will have those guarantees, yes.
And separately, Mr. President, I'm curious in terms of the future of Venezuela. Do you see Venezuela now led by Delcy Rodriguez as an ally of the U.S.? Is that the way that you view that country
well,
right now?
Well, right now they seem to be an ally, and I think it'll continue to be an ally, and we don't want to have Russia there. We don't want to have China there. And by the way, we don't want Russia or China going to Greenland, which if we don't take Greenland, you're going to have Russia or China as your next-door neighbor. That's not going to happen. The white...
Mr. President, thank you. You just said that these companies would have security guarantees if they go in on the ground in Venezuela.
They will have.
And what is your plan there actually for these companies and those Americans who are going to be on the ground working for these companies?
Well, there are going to be Americans. I assume they're going to be using a lot of Americans, but they're going to be using a lot of people from Venezuela and other places, I would imagine. But I would think that mostly they'll be using Venezuelan workers. They have a lot of great workers. They have a very high unemployment rate, and they have workers that are very familiar with taking oil out of the ground. Yeah.
How long do you think the Ayatollah will be in power after what we've seen play out on the ground there? When is the U.S. going to get involved now that reports of protesters being killed on the ground?
So Iran's in big trouble. It looks to me that the people are taking over certain cities that nobody thought were really possible just a few weeks ago. We're watching the situation very carefully. I've made the statement very strongly that if they start killing people like they have in the past, we will get involved. We'll be hitting them very hard where it hurts. And that doesn't mean boots on the ground, but it means hitting them very, very hard where it hurts. So we don't want that to happen. There have been cases like this where President Obama totally backed down. But this is something pretty incredible that's happening in Iran. It's an amazing thing to watch. They've done a bad job. They've treated their people very badly, and now they're being paid back. So let's see what happens. We're watching it. We're watching it very closely. Go ahead, please. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Do you have any comments in reaction to the recent attacks by the Syrian government alignment groups against US-backed Kurdish forces in Aleppo, Syria, which killed dozens of civilians and displacing many families? Does your administration bring peace between the Kurds and the Syrian government?
I want to see peace, yes, I do. The Kurds and the Syrian government, we get along with both, as you know very well. They have been natural enemies over the years, but we get along both, and we want to see Syria succeed. And so far, I think they are succeeding, but this is just breaking out, and we want to see that stopped. Go ahead, please.
You're meeting with the President of Colombia, Gustavo Petro, in a few weeks. Do you hope this meeting with Gustavo Petro marks a new chapter, a new beginning in the benefit of the U.S. and Colombia relations?
What country?
Colombia, with the President of Colombia, Gustavo Petro, you're
I had
meeting.
a very good talk with him yesterday, and he's been very hostile to us and to the nation and to me, called me a dictator and lots of other things, called Biden some terrible names, far worse than he called me. But he called yesterday through people, and he wants to meet, and that's fine with me. I've made up with people also, you know, so we're going to have a meeting with him. We had a very good conversation. The people of Colombia are incredible people. Marco would know that better than anybody because he's married to a woman from Colombia. And I don't mean Columbia University. That would be, I'm not sure. I think I like Colombia, the country, better, if you want to know the truth. The people are, hold it. The people are great people. I look forward to meeting with them. We're going to meet in the very near future.
Would you meet the interim president of Venezuela here in the White House? Would you greet her to discuss the fate of the oil?
Yeah, well, I'm going to meet a lot of people, and we're going to meet, you know, we meet a lot of people. When you end 8 wars, you get to know a lot of people, and I think it's very important. As an example, we have over $18 trillion, think of it, $18 trillion coming into our country. A lot of that's coming in from foreign countries like Saudi Arabia and Qatar and UAE and others. And I get to meet a lot of people, but I will be meeting with various representatives of Venezuela, probably pretty soon. We haven't set that up. But the relationship that we have with the people that are currently running Venezuela is very good. We also have a young lady that received the Nobel Peace Prize. She's going to come in and pay her regards to our country, really, to me, but you know, I'm a representative of the country, nothing else. And she's coming in sometime next week, I think Tuesday or Wednesday, and we'll see how that is. But no, we're dealing with the people from Venezuela. We're dealing with them very well. I think they've been very smart in the way they've dealt with us, frankly, because that whole place could have been obliterated with one more strike, and we didn't want to do that.
Thank you so much. I have a question for you on Minneapolis, but on Venezuela and your meeting with Machado next week. If she gives you her Nobel Peace Prize, will that change your view about her running that country?
Well, I have to speak to her. I mean, I'm going to have to speak to her. She might be involved in some aspect of it. I will have to speak to her. I think it's very nice that she wants to come in, and that's what I understand the reason is, because Norway is very embarrassed by what took place. I mean, they're getting decimated. Look, whether people like Trump or don't like Trump, I settled 8 wars, big ones, some going on for 36 years, 32 years, 31 years, 28 years, 25 years, some just getting ready to start, like India and Pakistan, where already 8 jets were shot out of the air, and I got it done in rapid order without nuclear weapons. I can't think of anybody in history that should get the Nobel Prize more than me, and I don't want to be bragging, but nobody else settled wars. Obama got the Nobel Prize. He had no idea why. He still has no idea. He walks around and he says, I got the Nobel Prize. Why did he get a Nobel Prize? He got it almost immediately upon attaining office, and he didn't do anything, and he was a bad president. So, I mean, you should get the Nobel Prize for every war you stopped. These were major wars. These were wars that nobody thought could be stopped. President Putin called me, and he said about 2 of the wars that he's been trying to stop them for 10 years. He wasn't able to do it. He couldn't believe it. So in theory, you should get the Nobel Prize for every war you stopped. Every one of them was major. But I don't care about that. What I care about is saving lives. I've saved tens of millions of lives. You know, the Prime Minister of Pakistan came here, and he made a very public statement. He said that President Trump saved minimum 10 million lives having to do with Pakistan and India, and that was going to be raging. So, you know, but I'm honored that she's coming here. I look forward to meeting her, yes.
And on Minneapolis, wait, I have a follow-up.
Go ahead.
On Minneapolis, Mr. President, I have a follow-up for you. The state officials there have said that the FBI is not sharing evidence with them. Typically, they would conduct a joint investigation, as you know. Do you believe that the FBI should be sharing evidence with state officials in Minnesota?
Well, normally I would, but they're crooked officials. I mean, Minneapolis and Minnesota, what a beautiful place, but it's being destroyed. It's got an incompetent governor, fool. I mean, he's a stupid person. And it looks like the number could be $19 billion stolen from a lot of people, but largely people from Somalia. They buy their vote. They vote in a group. They buy their vote. They sell more Mercedes-Benzes in that area than almost. Can you imagine? You come over with no money, and then shortly thereafter you're driving a Mercedes-Benz. The whole thing is ridiculous. So they're very corrupt people. It's a very corrupt state. I feel that I won Minnesota. I think I won it all 3 times. Nobody's won it since Richard Nixon won it many, many years ago. I won it all 3 times, in my opinion. And it's a corrupt state, a corrupt voting state. And the Republicans ought to get smart and demand on voter ID. They ought to demand maybe same-day voting and all of the other things that you have to have a safe election. But I won Minnesota 3 times, and I didn't get credit for it. I did so well in that state every time. The people were crying every time after. That's a crooked state. California is a crooked state. Many crooked states. We have a very, very dishonest voting system. The last time I won, 24, the one that just took place, I won because it was too big to rig. You couldn't rig it. It was too big. But I won the state of Minnesota. It's a corrupt voting system with an incompetent governor, a very incompetent governor. And by the way, he's a very corrupt governor, too. Go ahead.
I have a question on Iran, but first, very quickly on Venezuela. How do you provide total security guarantees to these companies without putting U.S. boots on the ground?
Well, we're going to work with the Venezuelan leaders and people, and we're going to have a very safe group, and they're going to also bring over some security with them. You know, these are not babies. These are people that drill oil in some pretty rough places. I could say a couple of those places make Venezuela look like a picnic. These people around the table, these are tough people. They go into areas that you wouldn't want to go. They go into areas that if they invited me, I'd say, no thanks, I'll see you back in Palm Beach. No, this is a tough group of people. They know how to do it. But we are, in addition to that, we'll have very good security for them. We're going to make sure there's very, very good security. And I think the people of Venezuela are going to give you very good security. You know, the people, now I'm not talking even leadership, the people of Venezuela are going wild over this. They named a street after President Trump. What do? You attack a country and they name a street? That's never happened before. Although I heard that's also taking place in Iran. They named a street. The protesters. I just hope, you know, just God bless them. I just hope the protesters in Iran are going to be safe, because that's a very dangerous place right now. And again, I tell the Iranian leaders, you better not start shooting, because we'll start shooting too. With your glasses, sir, go ahead, please. Hold it. Next to you. Yes, glasses. The gentleman with the glasses.
All right, thank you, Mr. President.
With those very big glasses, actually.
Yeah, Ferrari, actually. Mr. President, I have two questions. What do you want the European Union to do in Ukraine? The European leaders seem pretty divided on Ukraine. And then, if you can reiterate this straight message that you have to the Iranian leader, to Khomeini. The message that you have.
You're talking about Iran?
Oh, Iran, yeah.
What
the
do
first
I want
one is on
Iran
Europe.
to do?
I'm sorry?
Where are you from?
Italy.
Oh, nice place.
Yeah.
Okay.
The first question
So
is
what
on
are you
Europe.
asking about Iran for?
Well, if you can answer about Europe and what you think the Europeans should do on Ukraine, and then a message.
Well, look, Europe has been doing so much for Ukraine, but it hasn't been enough. And obviously that I would say that President Putin is not afraid of Europe. He's afraid of the United States of America, as led by me. There's no fear of Europe. You know, Europe's fallen behind. And Europe, and J.D. said it very strongly, I don't know, he took a lot of heat, but I didn't give him any heat. Europe is a different place. Europe is changing. Europe has got to get its act together. I love Europe. I guess I came from Europe, essentially. My roots are in Europe, but Europe is a different place. They have to get their act together. Now they have a great NATO leader, and they've gone up to 5% from 2% GDP. That's a big step. But they have to be very careful with their immigration policy, and they have to be very, because, you know, I will just say, to be nice, that there are certain places in Europe that are very important that are no longer recognizable. I'm being very nice. I'm being very diplomatic when I say that. They are not recognizable. And they have to be careful on energy, because they're putting windmills all over the place and losing a fortune. They're destroying their country. They're just destroying the beautiful landscapes, the beautiful everything. They're doing. And by the way, in case you people don't know, I'm not much of a windmill person. I can proudly say, Doug, that we have not approved one windmill since I've been in office, and we're going to keep it that way. My goal is to not let any windmill be built. They're losers. They lose money. They destroy your landscape. They kill your birds. They're all made in China. And all you have to do is, you know, just about all of the windmills are made in China, the structures. All you have to do is say to China, how many